welcome back to the rationalinvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Broiler Chicken Show. Back. Anyway, happy first week back following the summer, I suppose. Hope you're getting settled back into your routines. And you guys have your seatbelt strapped on tightly. It's going to be one hell of a wild fall, that's for darn sure. Was actually handed a bit of a treat here over the weekend, but I won't go into too much detail about it. But it was kind of a fun adventure in crypto degen land. But I do really like I do like the idea of where this is going, because I would like to ultimately have a cryptocurrency and people pay for goods and services that I offer through that cryptocurrency. So this is actually it's a good initial step. But now I have to go through the process of building up a controlling position in this fun little thing that I've created. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the silliness and the silly posts that I was posting through the weekend. There was a TRI OG who did a video and shared it on the site, and some other people shared his video, and he was just talking about the actual coin itself and just showed the platform, and I was like, oh, what the hell, let's head on over there, have some fun. No promises. In fact, actually in the description of what I did, I even said this coin is worthless, it has no intrinsic value. Don't be stupid and risk money you can't afford to lose, kind of idea. But anyway, it was an interesting adventure, that's for sure. And it was very educational too. But unfortunately, the conclusion that I come out of all of that is and I'm not quite sure. I don't think I have the social media thing up here. But I do definitely feel like we are in a Biff Tannen kind of environment, Back to the Future 2, where he was like the casino operator, owner. It definitely feels like we're in that world, which is such a shame. I will say, I think I probably took more grief from TRI people over my participation in that very bizarre experience than anybody else. But, keep in mind, make no false promises. Didn't tell anybody that this thing was worth crap. And the people that actually tried to hijack the story and get rich off of it, well, I just took their money, and they were kind of stupid to assume that I was some chump and didn't know what I was doing and would basically follow their directions. And instead, I took a bit of money from the market. And really, I didn't have any preset plan. I just was having fun. And I told all of them all through this, look, I'm just fucking around here. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Don't assume anything here. And because of that, I think they wanted to try and take advantage of me, and it blew up in their faces. So anyway, and absolutely nothing with that has anything to do with TRI. In fact, one of the TRI principals was kind of looked at me with a bit of a jaundiced eye over all of it, and I don't blame him. I went into DeFi land, and I swam with the sharks, and I came out ahead, so I can't complain. And I'm not really feeling ethically challenged, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I certainly didn't have any sort of pre-planned agenda. It's just I wasn't going to get sucked into any shill. And I told these people, look, don't buy this thing if you're expecting it to go like 100x right out of the gate. That's just not going to happen. So anyway, very bizarre weekend. I'll tell you that much, by crackers. And actually, the interesting thing is what I usually like to do on Saturday mornings is sort of do some market research, and maybe do like a blog post or two, sort of things I see in the market. And I spent quite a bit of time Saturday morning doing a lengthy write up on the bond market because I absolutely love this trade now. Um, Not only do we have sort of my licks, location, indicator, confirmation, price structure, go. Um, and is this linkable now? It looks like this is linkable, but I guess this one's not linkable. But I think I told you before, I do like doing the social media posts, but I really don't like being held hostage by the social media platform operators. So, just shopping around looking for a social media platform that's not like sort of blackmailing you into becoming some sort of regular subscriber. So, I created this fun little social media, and it's totally free. So, anybody that's knows me, you're more than welcome to join. But anyway, I did a fairly lengthy write up of the difference between, well, not difference, but a very significant technical event that just happened in the bond market, outside upside key reversal on a weekly basis. Wow. You do not see weekly key reversals every day. So the fact that it came in on the bonds, and I had been making the argument bond bullish for quite some time. The headline that I gave here was that this is like literally the cherry on top of the banana split. You could literally couldn't get a more sort of solidifying price action on the charts. Now, having said that, this signal does not confirm until we actually trade through this high. So we might gap lower tomorrow morning and we never even see those highs again. You don't know. But if we do trade through that high there, and I think I had it noted that it's like 88.61. That becomes a very, very powerful message from the market. And, for anybody who's like, well, I don't know if key reversals are all that great. I think you're a little full of horse hockey, Beamish. I included in this post. Oh, where'd it go? And it's gone. That's weird. I included this post. I actually even did a post on a key reversal that came in on the stock market back the end of June. Very typical seasonal bottoming period for the stock market. So this was like right on cue, very normal, business as usual. And boom, what a signal. Holy crap. So if nothing else, hopefully you can respect that if that key reversal signal does fire in the bond market, oh boy, look out. I mean, the interesting thing here is that I think we're now into the part of the cycle where bond market rallies actually are bad signs for the economy. Through the whole falling interest rate cycle and rallying bond prices. Generally speaking, actually, that was sort of like the market had the wind at its back. I actually think now that we're on the other side of this 80-year interest rate cycle, and we should expect 40 years of rising interest rates from that 2021 stupidity. I actually think that bond market rallies now are nothing more than a sign of economic weakness, and people are, running for safety into bonds. because they are guaranteed investment vehicles. You do have a right to demand your principal back if prices collapse on maturity. Um, and unfortunately, in this generation, I don't think a lot of people have really understood. Because keep in mind, the last sort of major meltdown that the market had in earnest was 2008, and even that now, that's almost it's going to be 20 years ago in just a couple of years. So I don't think that a lot of people actually are fully prepared for a stock market that basically underperforms for a number of years. But I actually think that that's probably what's going to happen here over the next few years. We all know, of course, Brian and his doom and gloom. 47, 48. In fact, actually, I think I have it mapped out now. How this, and I do find it interesting that off of that Jupiter Saturn cross, 80-year interest rate cycle event, if we actually do a time fib study, it is interesting how peaks in the interest rate market and also peaks in this inflationary cycle seem to be coming in on these fib time zones. What I also found interesting too was if I took that 1947 48 data, and keep in mind, this chart is nothing more than just sort of like a sentiment vote on what investors are doing with their money in the market. As long as we keep seeing higher highs and higher lows, then what that implies is that investors would rather own the treasury bonds that have the inflation protection premium versus not having that inflation protection and premium. So it's not really a price chart. It's more like a relative desirability image, if that makes any sense. And unfortunately, when you look at this chart, and it's fascinating how this cycle, because keep in mind, we started this website and I started my adventure with sort of this public education program that I've been doing way back here. Yeah, you can even see started TRI here. And for a great many years, I had to try and explain why interest rates were falling and why the cost of money was nothing, and it was just simply a function that the economy was just extremely weak, and we were coming to the very end of a very long-term cycle. And ironically enough, since the sickness, and God, it's absolutely incredible to see the change in our society now. It's interesting. I was listening to some old music I hadn't listened to in a while, and there was The Weeknd. Do you guys remember that guy? He always had on like a band-aid over his nose, like he just got beat up. That was his shtick. But anyway, I listened to his sort of one-hit wonder, and that was right before the shit hit the fan in our world. So if you could remember that, and I remember like he won a Grammy, or it was like a total runaway hit, but for some reason he was completely blackballed or blacklisted by Hollywood and the Grammy people and all that kind of fun stuff. But that world just doesn't exist anymore. It's absolutely remarkable how the whole fabric of our society is completely been turned on its head. So anyway, the point of the matter here is this is a graphic illustration of that long-term cycle pivot. And man, you better learn these Jupiter Saturn crosses and the significance of this stuff, because it's like the core of how actually assets move and sort of the relative desirability of one asset over another. I keep trying to teach these humans that everything moves in cycles, but man, it's like pulling teeth to try and convince people of this. But the bottom line here is that we have clearly transitioned from a falling inflation, falling desirability to have that inflation protection. And this trend's been going on for quite some time into the Jupiter Saturn cross. Manufactured sicknesses, who knows? Manufactured wars, definitely. But the entire fabric of our whole society is completely turned on its head. And what's fascinating here is that politicians nowadays, and unfortunately, Donnie actually set the precedent, through that sickness. He just turned the fucking printers on. And ironically enough, the period where the money supply growth went basically parabolic and absolutely out of control was actually in Donnie's last year of presidency. When they had the first sickness. But that clearly changed everything, and it's shocking how the clown that's running my country right now, he just arbitrarily decided out of nowhere, like he's some fucking despot. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go double the federal deficits. I mean, we're sitting here at $40 billion deficit. This is insanity. What's going on here? And this cocksucker comes along and just out of nowhere goes, nah, you know what? Let's double that to $90 billion. Like, money is completely worthless and meaningless to this guy. And frankly speaking, if we were living in a hard money world and a economics 101, there's no fucking way any banker would say, oh yeah, you know what, just go double your deficit. You're already horribly bankrupt. But yeah, we'll go lend you a whole bunch more money that you don't have. Absolutely insane numbers, especially considering the Canadian economy is basically tipping over a cliff here. We had I try to explain to the Americans in our audience that don't even really get Chinese data that if we get a print, if you compare it to the American market, it's basically like 10xing the number. So over the past 2 months in China, the country has lost over 100,000 jobs. So what do you think that the public would be thinking down in the States if it was reported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics that they lost 1 million jobs in a month or two period? How do you think the American market would handle news like that? And in this country here in China, the bastard that's running the place, and he basically just self-appointed himself like some dictator. He doesn't give a shit. I mean, it's absolutely stunning what's going on here. And the only way that you can explain how the international banking community and stuff can continue to lend out all this money is because they are doing this great reset to us. This is all coordinated. If we were running a hard money world, there's no way in hell this would be possible. Because the banksters would just simply say, look at you're breaking all the reserve requirements, you're breaking all the deficit covenants. To do the Maastricht Treaty in Europe, all the European countries had to commit to 3% GDP budget deficit maximum. I mean, with this asshole going and doubling our deficit just like that, with GDP doing absolutely nothing, in fact, actually even contracting, there's no economic sense to this unless it is actually being orchestrated. And oh, by the way, the guy happens to be part of the cabal. He was the Bank of England governor. He was the Bank of Canada governor. And you saw, I mean, his nose was right up that Maxwell lady's arse, several images. So he has plenty of track record that he's part of this cabal. I mean, the whole thing is just absolutely stunning. And the worst part about this is us in the public, there doesn't seem to be a damn thing we could do about this. It's like unstoppable. And that was sort of the rant that I put out on social media, because it's fascinating to see how many Canadians, and, bless their hearts, they're trying desperately. Every day I come on here, actually interesting, it's not here now, But this clown's one bark after another. But the bottom line here is this is like a double-edged sword for this country, because I believe that this gentleman and that Trudeau idiot, they represent the Eastern Canada cabal. And they're obviously very, very in bed with the Europeans. And they absolutely hate this sort of Western Canada kind of ideology. And the previous sort of guy who was in power before these nuts jobs, communists, took over, he actually invested a lot of money in building out the Canadian oil industry, like literally tens of billions of dollars, created this like generational wealth fund. And these people are doing everything in their possible power to just seek revenge on the right wing leaning political party that put that tar sands into business. My feeling here is that this gentleman wants to put that out of business, and he's trying everything he possibly can. I mean, it is like the most articulate form of revenge I have actually seen. It's the only way you can explain what these idiots are doing. It makes absolutely no economic sense whatsoever, other than this is nothing more than just revenge, which is so tragic. These silly humans. It's, you could argue that this dickhead's being emotional and making emotional decisions about the fate of this country. And the exact kind of thing I'm trying to teach all of you to disconnect from and get rid of that emotion. But ironically enough, the bankster crooks, they're actually the most sensitive cartel, if you will. I mean, I suppose there's one other special interest group that if you even say boo about them, they literally hunt you down and murder you. And I won't name names, but I think you all know who they are. And they happen to be very tightly involved with the Epstein shit. But I do think that these guys are just in bed with them. And it's just shocking how brutally blatant this is. Makes no economic sense whatsoever what these people are doing. But anyway, back to our conversation. I actually think what's happening here is that while interest rates are relatively low, I think that this cabal of banksters wants to encourage the Western world to go out and borrow as much money as possible. It's the only way you can explain what the hell they're doing. Why? Because they know that the interest rate market is going to be moving higher. This picture is going to be going up for probably the better part of the next 30 years, right? And sadly, from like just a pure interest rate perspective, if we look at long-term treasuries, this is the 10-year US Treasury bond. I believe that this thing is now going to be trending higher for the next 40 years, because I have that other data. You can't see the whole thing. And really what they want to do is they want to instill financial slavery in the world, right? So they have literally locked all of these governments in. And unfortunately, the citizens of the governments are the ones that are on the hook. And it's fun, to watch the debt clock go up day after day after day. But basically locking them in at as absolutely high an interest rate as possible, knowing that the next cycle peak isn't like a way, way over here. And by the time we get way, way over here, the Western world's going to be absolutely bankrupt, just doing nothing more than just paying the interest on all of this debt that they're encouraging us to basically legally lock ourselves into. That's what I think is going on here, which is so sad. Never ends. Anyway, so I suppose the good part about it is in the near term, you can see, and you can understand to a certain degree that Donnie, of course, wants to try and halt that. I'm not quite sure how all of this is going to play out. And frankly speaking, I don't think anybody knows. But for the near term, over the next probably year or two, it should make sense. I mean, you see all of these M's. It's M after M after M. And the lows that are being put in here are all V's. So that means that market structure wise, the market is actually smiling at us a lot. And, this thing is the yield on the bond. So that means the bond itself must look the exact opposite. And that's what this image is. This is the 20-year bond ETF. I've been barking about how bullish I am of this thing. And, based on that 10-year yield, even if we just do simple things like 50% rules, well, we don't want to overthink this. That's what that number is there. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually have to come all the way back down to reload zones. It would make sense. Donnie is derailing the global economy. There's no doubt about that. And if I wanted to buy this interest-bearing instrument, I guess, buy low yield, I guess is the best way to say it. I'd want to be buying down here, not here. So, the exact opposite to this is the bond. So quite literally, folks, and really, I don't see why this can't happen. There's 38.2 to 50% of the range. I'm not asking for yields to go to new lows. All I'm asking for is, can we maybe do a little bit of backfilling? Would this technically be appropriate to get some sort of bounce back up into that area? And then conversely, like I said, would it make sense? Just from a pure technical perspective, we don't need to overthink this, but would it make sense for bond yields to do 50% retracements? Yeah, this is like TA 101. It's not rocket science. The only problem is, of course, is the media on board with being bond bullish right now? It is interesting to see, and I've done quite a few write-ups of this bond market. The institutions themselves are actually very bond bullish. I bet you didn't know that. And so why wouldn't they be out telling the public, you know what, maybe you should be expecting lower interest rates going forward? I don't hear anybody talking about that at all. It's funny how Donnie is trying desperately to, I want to make life more affordable for the average American citizen. Mortgage rates come down. And the irony of all is that that's exactly what he's getting. But, if we actually look at the data, and keep in mind, this report forces these big assholes here. This is Joey Diamond. This is the Goldman Sachs guy. This is your family neighborhood, Giselle Maxwell, got his nose up her butt over there, who I'm talking about, right? And it goes on and on and on. These are probably a couple of the Lagardes, and this is, some, Charlie over there, I guess some British bankster. Hey, there's the Rothschilds over there. I mean, you get the idea. But anyway, the point of the matter here is, if you actually listen to the institutions themselves, this is an absolutely stunningly bullish image right here, an insanely bullish image. So why aren't they coming out and telling the public, you don't have to worry, interest rates are probably going to come down here. Don't get too stressed out. But no, it's all, they're selling fear, doom and gloom, end of the world, blah, 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 blah. And of course, they're encouraging the public to sell at the bottom of the market. What a surprise. And I did find it interesting that recently I put on a number of different spreads. I put on like a Hail Mary, which it's interesting that I've educated our student body so well that they looked at my Hail Mary trade and went, Brian, are you serious? Come on. So I thought that was cool. But I also put on, we have an options trading club, the Secret Options Formula Club. that we actually ran the numbers, and Colstradamus, he actually picked out a couple of spreads that he kind of liked, and I grabbed some of them as well. So, and I also, of course, own the bonds themselves. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. There's no doubt about that. But anyway, if you want the write up of what I see happening in the market here from an institutional perspective, and oh, by the way, that is not a bullish picture for the stock market either. So, oh boy, get ready, folks. Actually, it's probably a good dovetail. So, knowing that people often run into the bonds to get the fuck out of stocks and fearful, and we can clearly see people are voting with their pocketbooks. You don't spit out things like outside upside key reversals without a shit ton of buying coming in here. So the irony of it all is that the institutional boys knew that something like this was about to happen. So you don't get that kind of movement if people are happy-go-lucky in the stock market. So if we go look at something like our January barometer here, what do you guys think? Is this a good time to go and load up on risk assets here in the market? I mean, that this image has been such an absolutely incredible roadmap for us through the entire year. It's shocking how good it's been, almost too good. If anything, you almost want to go, no, you know what? This time it's got to be different. Please, for God's sakes, please make it different. Because I'll tell you what, something, based on what I'm seeing here with the bonds breaking out, and it is interesting too to see that things like the ultimate leading indicator in the stock market, the semiconductor sector, it's not making higher highs and higher lows. It hasn't really broken down yet. But I tell you, if we get any kind of price action down below this level here, that's going to turn into one hell of a smile. So caveat emptor, you people be warned. There is definitely potential trouble. And what's also interesting about this too is if we change this to a line chart, watch. How's my M doing? Is it still there? Yep, that's there in glorious Technicolor. So there is subtle messages that there is chinks in the armor. And it is interesting that the market darling, everything that everybody's been in love with forever. Druckenmiller, of course, made a bucket load on this, and he decided to get out, but he even scolded himself because he thought he missed a big profit opportunity there. And I don't know whether he got back in or not, but what letter of the alphabet does that look like? And this is the market darling. This is the leader in this space. Uh-oh. That can't be a good sign, can it? Oh, wait a minute. This time it's different. Also, too, another market darling, and I think these two have been the market darlings, AMD. And I remember Chaba on the site was touting AMD at like $2 a share. Oh, Chaba, I sure fucking hope you bought some of this damn stock. I remember one year we lost Chaba on the Habsburg estate in the middle of Vienna. We're all wondering. It was hotter than fuck. You wouldn't believe how hot it was there. And we're all wandering around the state for hours on end. Well, not that long. Chaba, where are you? Anyway, there was a gentleman actually on the site who was recently bullish here. I didn't get a buy signal until here, so I felt really badly that I didn't really guide him very well. But the buy signal here, you can see that worked pretty well. But it does look to me like this darling here is banged up against a pretty significant technical resistance level. And I suppose if you are a bull, then hope. All we do is back up into this low. You really don't want to see that low taken out. So maybe we can do something like that, and we're still a bull. But that guy doesn't look very happy. And if we drill down to like a lower time frame basis, I actually think there's a short setup working here. And it looks to me like we're going to take a shot at these lows. It's interesting how the bot objective is right into that right shoulder low. So if we come down, tag the bot, then put in a bottom, well, that inverted head and shoulders thesis is still on the table. But considering what the January barometer is suggesting, considering what the bonds are suggesting, considering what Nvidia is suggesting, I don't know. I'm a little leery here. Something doesn't smell right about all this. It is. I'm not quite sure why these are off the screen. It is interesting to see my little contrarian play, and I like to buy stocks at the bottom ends of the ranges that nobody loves. That's kind of the weirdo that I am. And I don't know, you tell me, is this stock got any room to move up here? We got to go out to a weekly chart to see this insanity. This is one of the only tech stocks that has not even come close to its .com peak highs. I don't know whether it can even get there or not. Who knows? But I do like the idea of stepping in against the bottom end of the range here. I mean, it's just what I do, right? So not shocking. I did find it interesting that the U.S. government now is a shareholder with me, and that should actually be a bit of a concern. You don't really like it when governments are your major investors, because keep in mind, governments don't really have an incentive to turn a profit. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I did establish a risk-free trade, bought some calls, bull call spreads. Blew out positions, 3/4 of the position, established a risk-free trade. This might form a nice little bull flag, but at the same time, too, given what I'm expecting out of things like January barometers and stuff, and the way the bond market's acting here, big fucking buy signals. You're not going to get a bigger buy signal, in my opinion, in your lifetime than that if that triggers tomorrow morning. It does make it difficult to really pound the table that stocks are worth stepping in on the long side here. It is a bit of a challenge. Suppose looking at some names that you people are interested in, gold stocks have just been going absolutely crazy. Hats off to the gold bugs. I was very interested in taking a position on this thing. I figured that we would get a little bit more of a window to get in here. And, this is a great example where your opinion doesn't mean jack shit in the marketplace. They were just like, sorry, Brian, we're out of here. Oh my goodness. I don't know what angers me more, being wrong in the market or being right in the market, but missing the trade. This just pisses me off to no end because I was barking about how I expected Newmont to do something like this just about this time of the cycle. I just thought it was going to come in a little bit later. But anyway, hindsight's 2020. And to give you an idea of where this thesis comes from, all I'm expecting is Newmont to just basically repeat what it's done in the past. So this was the last Jupiter Saturn cross and great resetting kind of window here. The hyperinflation of the early 1980s, Volcker's war on inflation, blah blah blah. That was the last major interest rate cycle peak. And of course, look at what this damn thing did through 87, 88. Now, do we have any hint that 47, 48 was a massive inflationary spike? Barked at you guys plenty about that. So hopefully everybody remembers that. And the irony of it all is that I think it's actually just going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why? And actually, somebody asked me, I was doing those funny internet platforms, trading shit coins there yesterday, trying to teach them a thing or two about economics, but I don't know whether I got through to any of them. One gentleman, though, was like, hey, can you share that chart you had? So maybe I got through to him. I don't know. But we were talking about the cost of money. And I think that the cost of money, we're in a friendly environment. And of course, all of the countries in Europe and Asia, they've been like cranking interest rates lower. Fucking Bank of China down here cranking interest rates lower, trying to desperately prop up these economies. But the United States, the hegemony, of course, has been no, we're not moving an inch. But I do think that that's changed. And if anything, I think the market is trying to price that in. And if anything, and I want to find that image here before I start talking too much more here. Where the hell is it? I'll put it over here. No. Darn. It's one of these. No, not that one. I don't think it's these. Oh, what did I do with it? Maybe it's over on a different. Where did I put it? Did I put it on the crypto thing? I don't think so. Maybe. Nope, it's not over here. Is it over here on the futures page? Nope, not over here. Yeah, what the heck did I do with that? Maybe I put it away. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not. Maybe over here. No. There's an interesting stock, eh? Son of a bitch. Seen a lot of stocks that look like this. And I think if I can show you this damn image, you'll understand why. So anyway, I guess we'll just have to reload another one. Where was it? Is this it? Do 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 do. Hey, there we go. Do 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 do. All right, so you guys have probably seen this before, the cost of money. And this does highly, highly correlate with our Bitcoin spring, winter, summer, fall scenario. So, on the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, you are here now, right? We're basically at the end of the summer. I hope you all understand what's about to come ahead of us. I have a feeling this altcoin market, though, is probably going to push into the beginning of the year and the new year, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin's probably going to try and find its cycle peak somewhere here in the not too distant future. And then, we go through like 3 or 4 months of circle jerk, what's that funny joke we had about that Middle East guy, Gucci sweater wears kind of environment. That's my hunch through this cycle. Oh, I haven't seen any of that kind of behavior yet. Little bit. In fact, you know what the part of the market is right now? I think that we're in. Right now, I think we're in the magic internet money part of the cycle. So if we go back to our money cycle, I think this actually makes a lot of sense because you remember when the sickness came in and they took rates down to almost nothing. That's when guys like Pack and all of them were gloating about how awesome stock pickers they were, and everybody was making a fortune. And hey, let's all go and invest in China. Whoa, there was a smart idea. Raoul Paul came into the crypto space. Hey, I'm an expert in crypto. Go and buy Ethereum at $5,000. You'll guaranteed to make money, kind of shit. All that nonsense. And of course, our buddy, and actually, we really haven't heard too much from our buddy. Fucking. Remember, this show's not for kids. And frankly speaking, I would not have your children around the computer if you ever tune into one of Danny's broadcasts. Public service note. So, and that's all about magic internet money and the insanity of what I went through this weekend is, in my opinion, an absolutely perfect analogy of this magic internet money part of these cycles, where it just gets like logic just gets thrown right out the window. And it was actually quite remarkable to see these little scammers on this platform start to get like all angry at me because I wouldn't promote the token, and I wasn't going to go on my social media and shill the fuck out of it and have all of my, Twitter people all come in and buy these guys' bags because they bought it right out of the gate, blah 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 blah. No sense of what is like an hour's work actually worth? Nothing. No conversation about that at all right now. And in this kind of environment where the Fed is, you can see the Fed is begrudgingly giving into this falling interest rate part of the cycle. And I think that this kind of stupidity, then I think the easiest way for you to describe it, and I wanted to pull up the YouTube page, and I can't find it here. I want to see if there's anybody actually even watching this. I'm probably just talking to myself here, as I often do. Oh, Jesus, now I have to sign in? Great. And they'll probably have to send me a code. Uh-oh. Something went wrong. Let's try that again. Hey, there we go. At least I haven't forgotten the damn password. Anyway, give me a second here just so I can check in with you people. Hey, there we are. Oh, 50 people watching. That's not terrible. Okay, so anyway, the point of the matter here is you remember like this was the last magic internet money craze. And as I had said there yesterday, I had a very interesting adventure in DeFi land, in shill land, in pump and dump land, and all that. And I wouldn't really participate in what they actually had in store, what they were planning to do. And man, they got incredibly angry at me because I wouldn't, shill. And I even said to them, look, I know for certain that regulators are watching my ass like a son of a bitch. Because I mean, hell, I used to be a fellow of the Canadian Securities Institute. Last thing in the world a guy like me can do is go out and make stupid false promises, pump and dump kind of schemes, and be actually seen as the demonstrator of poor practices. So I told them, look, I'm not gonna shill this to anybody. And if anything, I want to buy a controlling interest. All these other jerks had the controlling interest in the coin right out of the gate, and I was just like, sorry, I'm not going to play. And sadly, this particular platform, I won't name names, but this particular platform, they actually incentivize, the entire platform is built on incentivizing the shill, which is very, very bad business model. And frankly speaking, when crypto winter comes, I would actually be very surprised if this platform exists afterwards, because the coins that they're creating are utterly and completely worthless. And I could literally, I mean, keep in mind, I've been in this business forever. These kids actually thought, hey, here's a chump who doesn't really know what the fuck he's doing. Let's take advantage of him. And I've seen this story 100 times. In fact, I called them paper hangers, and that's what they are. They're paper hangers. Anybody who's taken the education program remembers the story of Jay Gould. These kids are doing exactly the same thing as Jay Gould. No difference. So anyway, the point of the matter here is that that is the behavior that is exactly supposed to happen in this part of the cycle. This is it, folks. Ironically enough, we go through these windows about once every 4 years where you just get into stupid mode. And I believe that we are fast approaching stupid mode. And frankly speaking, seeing what how utterly and completely unethical and immoral that damn Trump guy is. I mean, just breaking every ethics standard ever put in place. And he just doesn't give a fuck. I mean, it's stunning to watch it happen right in front of your eyes. Again, this is this part of the cycle. So just understand the context of where we are, people, please. What do you think? Does this image try and help you understand where we are in these fucked up cycles? Anybody? Can anybody give me some feedback? I hope so. Right. And if anything, ironically enough, and that's if this guy survives. I don't know whether he survives or not. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets poked, but it wouldn't surprise me if down the road we actually head into an economic peak. The question is will Donnie actually still be around? Does he become a self-appointed dictator of the United States of America? Keep in mind that the prophecies, right, the omen were that Trump would be the last president of the United States of America. And I wouldn't be surprised into this sort of economic good times that he's like, you know what? I don't really have any plans on leaving. Oh, well. And sadly, of course, 2728, we all know what 1947 and 48 looked like. So I would actually argue that history is just repeating itself. And all Trump has done is he has just facilitated the ability for these bankster crooks to basically great reset us up the ass. And frankly speaking, I think he's part of the whole damn plot. It's just to pull it off, they actually need to convey to the public that actually they're on opposite sides of the equation. But I might argue that they're all part of the same plot. Anyway, who knows? Blah, blah, blah. Rhetoric, rhetoric, rhetoric. But anyway, so you can see we are in that falling interest rate environment on the short end. Interest rates are falling. And I do think that to a certain degree, I don't know what and actually it's interesting because I had a different version of this I actually shared with somebody, but looks like my computer decided not to save my images once again. So frustrating. ZQ. Oh, maybe that's what this is. Ah, there it is. Ah, what a knucklehead. I'm such a doofus. Let's put that one away. And that's the image I wanted to talk to you about. So, is this orange man tax crisis, i.e., tariffs? Because really all tariffs are is just more taxes. The irony of it all is that he can say tariff and people don't go, oh, you're raising our taxes. Fuck you. Nobody says that. Why? I don't know. Hey, American public's taking it up the ass. They seem to be perfectly happy with it. It's fascinating. So, here we are. I think that this goes on, and I have been, the Benner cycle, of course, it turns in 26. So that would, having the Fed lowering interest rates into this crisis, finally acquiesce. And of course, the Europeans, the Chinese, even the Chinese, right? They've all been lowering their rates dramatically. It looks like the Americans now are finally going to play catch up here. So I don't know how bad the economy gets, but as I said before, I think we're now in a world where actually bond strength is actually a reflection of weakness in the broader economy, not strength. Having said that, the money printers are still going crazy here, and they're great resetting us up the ass. So it's not like that's going to end anytime soon. So I wouldn't be surprised that even in this kind of environment, that stocks, I think they kind of just go sideways. And probably a good way for you to see that is, so I have to remember how I saved it. Fear, greed, zoomed into today. That sounds interesting. Oh, I don't want to leave though. Let's go. I want to just make sure I have the right one here. So we are into the greed cycle. Yeah, there we go. What a beautiful image, eh? It's just so it's actually stunning how actually consistently we are here on this. This was taken as of the end of 24, beginning of 25. So just out of curiosity, let's go see how have we actually followed along this path? Yeah, I'd be curious to see what an updated version of this is. Where did I have that? I suppose I go back over here and then we go open here, read. Always challenging to get this thing right. I don't know whether this is going to be the right chart or not. Let's see. Survey says no. No, I don't think. No, this is something different. That's not the image I wanted. It's interesting to see how the .com bubble burst. It almost looks identical, and then its subsequent bottom. Isn't this incredible? Look at this chart. It's like almost basically verbatim. I guess we go here. Right, something along those lines. So you can see how long did it take the NASDAQ to stabilize and then start moving up after the .com blow up? How long did it take the bond market to finally stabilize and start moving up? And look at that chart right there, eh? Fuck. If that was like a shit coin, I'd be like, fucking buy the crap out of that shit. So, ironically enough, the more things change, the more they stay exactly the same. Nothing's really changed here. It's just this is the ultimate growth proxy in our society, and this is the ultimate anti-growth proxy in our society. So, if you think about all the baby boomers running into retirement and leaving the economy, well, it would make sense that this is the safe haven. I'm going to go buy my bonds and just collect my monthly income and live quietly in my retirement, happily ever after. So we're going to go buy bonds. But this part of the cycle, this was the baby boomers. Hey, yeah, with go 90s. Hey, .com boom. Hey, everybody's getting rich. Yeah, economy's booming. So paper assets go up. I mean, if anything, I haven't looked at this image in a while. I think that I got to tweet that out. That's such an interesting image. Open up that. Maybe I'll do that after I come back from Lily tonight. But what I wanted to show you, which was, of course, a completely different conversation, was, let's see if we can try that again. So it wasn't that one. What the hell was it called? I wonder. I think it was a generational cycle. Dow. Maybe this is it. No, this is a different one. Actually, this is an interesting chart. We haven't looked at this in a while. So, if you believe that matter is neither created nor destroyed, but this inflation concept is a purely made up concept, then if you take the inflation component out of the equation, then these generational cycles should look very consistent, generation after generation after generation. And you tell me, does that look slightly similar? This is the roaring 20s. And, they called that the lost generation. But following the US Civil War, their greed cycle, their fear cycle, Bretton Woods, Great Reset, fuck you, public, you're going to get it up the ass. And look at what's happening here, right? There's Klaus and let's fuck you up the ass. And interesting too, how we had a breakout to new highs here. But then, and this is what I want to show you, is I think that we're basically right here now. So we know that 47, 48 were absolute nightmares when it comes to inflation. And I think the economy is going to take a pretty big punch in the nose here. You can see the very similar behavior here. It's quite shocking how similar it is. So what I wanted to show you, and of course, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do this. Now I've got 5 million tabs open. Good luck on finding the right tab. What I think we are is we're right here, and we have to go sideways now for probably the better part of maybe, like I guess end of 25. I guess we're sort of like right here, right? And the irony of it all is if you look out into like say 29, well, that's like 4 years from now. We're basically where we're going to be 4 years from now, with a hell of a lot of chop and pain along the way. So, what I wanted to do was show you the updated chart. But of course, Brian's too much of a doofus. All right, let's try again. Got so many of these damn charts. What the hell do I call this? Dow? Maybe I don't think it's comparison. Oh, what a knucklehead. All right, well, let's see. I think this is the one I just loaded, but let's see if this is it. It had Dow. The other one was NASDAQ. So I don't know. Oh, yeah, this is the one I just loaded. Oh, that's too bad. Damn it. Hey, when I do this, drives you crazy. All right, well, we'll put the money cycle away. I think everybody understands exactly where we're headed here. The short term. Let's see if I can free up. Oh, actually, you know what? I want to save that. Where the hell is that damn Dow generational cycle? Got it on here somewhere. What did I call this? It doesn't have the name. Oh, launch DJI chart. No, I don't think that's it. Fudge. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, you get the idea. And actually, I even put out tweets about a month or so ago. Basically, it looks to me like we're kind of stuck here. But I suppose we could probably just pull this up here quick and let's just see. I can never remember these names of these charts. There's too many charts. What the hell? Oh, it's still doing this. I don't want to fuck this up. Why is this stuff on here? You know what? This is just, I do not want to be fucking around with that chart. Okay, let's try one more. What the hell? I'm a glutton for punishment. Open. What the hell did I call it? It should be the fear greed cycle. That's what it should be. No. What the hell have I done here? Oops. Isn't that bizarre? Why can I not remember this? How frustrating. All right. Well, it sucks. Maybe if I get my shit together in the future, I'll give you a better presentation. But I think you get the idea. I mean, it's not the best illustration, but hopefully you get the idea that we are sitting right about here right now, the end of 2025. And I have a feeling that we kind of go sideways for the next 5 years or so. So enjoy the rally. I think this does push on into early 2026. And as Mr. Benner suggests, that is a cycle pivot. And I wouldn't be surprised if the crypto market kind of acts a little stupid here right through the end of the year. But the good part about it is, magic internet money. Through these stupid parts of the cycle, you can make a lot of money really quickly. And I got to tell you, I made like literally 5 figures yesterday doing absolutely nothing. And you're not supposed to be able to make that kind of money that quickly in the world. So that in itself is actually a really good anecdote of what part of the cycle we're in. Because I can guarantee you, In crypto winter, you will not make that kind of money that quickly. It just won't happen. So anyway, odd world we're in. Okay, so let's put stock market and all those big picture conversations away. Yeah, you guys really want to talk crypto, crypto tastes great. Still weak. Uh, if we look at this image here, we did actually have a weekly sell signal that came in a couple weeks ago, which kind of sucks. And we've just been sitting here going sideways for a little bit. I think I would conjecture if a gun held to my head, I kind of feel like this eclipse window is going to be the exact opposite to this window. So I've shown you that spinning screw in space and how it seems like once every certain amount of revelations, it turns on itself and it spins the exact opposite direction. And I think to a certain degree, that's exactly what happened here through this year. We had the market heading down. We go through the eclipse window. The screw turns around, heads the other direction. And my hunch here is we're going to go through another directional shift here. And of course, we all know that this is the end of the 4-year cycle. So I wouldn't be surprised. And if anything, I'm kind of feeling like they're selling the rumor. Now, of course, tomorrow the adults come back. So we might find that this candle looks very different. But I feel as though like they're selling the rumor and then buy the news on the other side. That's what it feels like. And what a coincidence. I don't think this is an accident. Right in between the eclipse window, we have a FUMC. So I think that the bankster crooks, they do this on purpose. This is not by accident. And so I do think that there is going to be some sort of pivot through that Fed event. This should be a pretty wild 2 or 3 weeks in the market. If we look at the lower time frame charts, unfortunately, what I see, and I think this is probably the best one for you to see this, is I see an expanding wedge, or what some people call megaphone. And I do see that actually this is moving fairly consistently with cycles. So I would expect some sort of cycle low here into this dump here. And then I would expect a cycle peak into this here. So boom, boom, boom. And this bottom side, that would be a rally peak. So you see how that there, and that's there. This is, I guess, that cycle low there, that cycle low there, that cycle low there. I think there needs to be a cycle low here somewhere. And then we go into the eclipse window. And this is the interesting thing about this. How the market actually behaves into the FOMC is actually going to be a pretty big tell. Because they usually say that if the market sells off into the Fed, then that's actually a good sign for the other side of that Fed event. If, however, the market rallies into that Fed event, that's usually a bad sign. So, as I had said earlier, I'm thinking and I'm still leaning to the sell the rumor, buy the news scenario. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. I really don't like this pattern though of lower low, lower low, and then you notice that the bottoms are kind of weak. They're very quick. Well-defined W, big rally out of there, but then when they come down and test the lows, there just isn't any support here at all. So we have a weak bottom that came in there several sessions ago. I guess that was back, that was the last week. And we've been chopping our way higher, but we haven't even gotten back to 38.2s here yet. And I get the feeling just looking at this chart, this sure kind of looks like a left shoulder, neckline, head, neckline, right shoulder, inverted head and shoulders. Maybe. We'll have to see how we act against this low. If this low holds, and they can actually put in some sort of structure here and start turning it back up, then I actually think that inverted head and shoulders got legs. The only problem with that, it's such a small pattern, is that, basically it's already telling you where its price objective is here, and it's not that high. So if this is an inverted head and shoulders and we do have a rally, and what do you think the odds are that that head and shoulders objective is just simply into a reload zone? Oh, what a surprise. Rally right into Mountain Man there. So, I mean, it's good. I do think that there is going to be some rally. The question I have here, though, is this some sort of dump that they create heading into the eclipse first thing Monday morning, maybe Tuesday kind of idea? Then we're into the eclipse window and we kind of go on pause. And I would challenge all of you to watch this, study this, see how the market changes its tone once, before the eclipse window happens and then into the eclipse. Because I think the eclipse technically is today, tomorrow. And I think it's a blood moon or something like that. Anyway, this is not enough for me to say, you know what, we've got a solid bottom here. I think we're ready to rock and roll, especially with the fact that this megaphone has been sort of partially completed. I still think we got a lot of work to do here before we can say, all right, we got a base, let's rock and roll. And then, ironically enough, if we go back to that weekly chart, and I don't know if it's going to happen. It might not. It's just the way markets go. We don't have nearly as much bullish enthusiasm this cycle. There's no doubt about it. It's blatantly obvious. But, maybe with the Fed coming out and saying, you know what, we're going to be a bit friendlier with the market, take rates down, go out there and have a party. You can see from the actual rally peak back to the most recent trough. This was the cycle peak last cycle, 16 weeks. That's pretty long. You might say the last 6 weeks of this cycle, again, basically straight up. Hell, you might even just say, look at, I'm not going to talk about breakouts until we actually get going. Anyway, last 5-6 weeks, the last month of the market rally, you can see it did pretty well there. Previous cycle, same sort of thing. This was the last time Donnie was president. And of course, around all the CME crookery. And I had pointed out here recently that, from the correction low into that cycle peak was like, 5 bars. It seems to me into these cycle peaks, we should see a relatively healthy market. So I don't see any reason not to look for an up market. It's just we're not really into that last 5, 6, 7 weeks here, 7 bars. That doesn't really start, ironically enough, until we actually get on the other side of that solar eclipse. So, sure, I've talked a hell of a lot, not really said anything. The bottom line here is I don't really expect a hell of a lot of bullishness here over the next couple of weeks. And just be cognizant. You can see it might be hard to see here, but maybe if I change these lines. Adam, say your line, say your line. And I love the fact that he's very consistent. Maybe I'll change it to yellow. Maybe you can see that a little better. Let's see what happens when I do that. Nope, that's not that line. Maybe it is, but it's just shaded or something. Nope. Let's get rid of that and that and that and that and that. Oh, actually, well, we'll leave the 200 on there. Wow, that's scary. Look how fucking low the 200 period weekly moving average is. Wow. P.S. Bitcoin's a buy when we're at the 200 period weekly moving average. Bitcoin's a buy when we are at the 200 period moving average. Somebody just give me some feedback here. Can you acknowledge Bitcoin's a buy when we're trading at the 200 period weekly moving average? Is Bitcoin a buy now? Hello. Holy fuck. And the irony of it all is that this is WD Gann 101, because WD Gann would just simply say, you take the high of whatever the hell the move is. And if that's the high, then that's the high. There's not much you can do about it, folks. It's just, the market's going to do what the market does. But that's $124,000. And WD Gann would just simply say, you take that number and you divide by 2, which is $62,000. And my hunch is by the time we work down here, this little 200 period moving average is probably going to work its way up into $60,000 to $65,000. Not rocket science. BB would simply say DFC. What the hell does DFC stand for? Don't effing chase. Is that where you're going? Snowboarding JJ? Donald is a hunt. Now I'm being colorful. So anyway, point of the matter here is 13 EMA. Adam would say acting as resistance now, which is right. It's doing its job. We lost the 13 EMA and 2 consecutive closes below that confirms that we lost that trend. You can see how we lost it over here. And oh boy, we had to recapture it before we started getting bullish again. So we're in a little bit dangerous territory here, and moving average sandwich, you can see 30 SMA is down here. There's no reason why we can't, like this, down into 30 SMA, try and swiggle around here and recapture the moving averages. They're still positioned bullishly, so I don't think that the bull is dead. But we could very easily be in moving average sandwich here. And interesting enough, from the RSI trading perspective, that's basically we get a dump down into here, like something like this. And the RSI model says, all right, at that point, you move your stop to scratch, which is pretty typical of that model. A lot of scratch trades. So don't be shocked if we get some sort of dump down against this tail here. Maybe we carve out like an empire top here and then consolidate through the eclipse window, and maybe we have one more blow off top up top here to cap the cycle. I don't know. Follow the chalk markets though. Chalk markets right now, chalk marks, excuse me, are pointing down. And there's no real hurry here to turn uber bullish whatsoever. In fact, if I look at the daily charts, I still am sort of asking myself, do we do a mini me end to this move? That sort of final push up, wash the previous highs, paint a new high, so everybody feels like, yeah, cycle peak, awesome, Bitcoin did its thing, and then we top out. And that wouldn't surprise me. It seems perfectly realistic. Or do we go into some sort of orgy mania, fat bastard style, and we rally all the way up to 160, 170? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And frankly speaking, I don't think any of you know either. We just got to follow the chalk marks. But, trade your plan. You all know my selling plan for my Bitcoins. If we do top out anywhere here, I won't be touching my Bitcoin stash. I'll just wait. There's no hurry. if we do go absolutely insane parabolic, like Allen and his Gronkowski thing says, and we do actually rally up into 400 Gs, then I'll be more than happy to let the market have mine. But I will say that this outcome is looking less and less likely in my eyes. Just being perfectly honest with you, all of you. All right, so that's good old Bitcoin. Obviously, I was having fun in Solana land. I kind of see the same sort of thing with Solana. I don't think we get the absolute insane face rips. And the problem with this story is I don't think it's growing vertically. So I don't think you're going to see higher and higher and higher prices. It's growing horizontally. 10 million coins on the Solana chain. And now Beamish joined them. So 10 million and one. And it cost almost nothing to create these things. And of course, you see magic internet money kind of conversations. These very, very poor ethics people. They must have gone to Donald Trump University. Very bad karma, people. Incredibly bad karma. And I even told them, I said, look, you're not gonna get anywhere in life. And keep in mind, what you put out into the world, that's what you get back. The only reason why I think I've done relatively well over the past 10 years or so is because I honestly believe I try really hard to help all of you. I try to put like good karmic message out. Obviously, with the news and having to report what these bankster crooks and people like Donnie are doing to us makes it very, very difficult to stay positive. But I think half of the reason why I've done as well as I have is because I keep trying to say, yeah, I'm trying to make a positive difference in your people's lives. And I do hear it back from all of you. Well, not all of you, but a huge chunk of you that say, yeah, Brian, I mean, you are making a difference in my life. So thank you. And I think that's half the reason why the universe is treating me as well as I have. I've said that about 3 or 4 times now, probably even 75, 80% of the reason. So anyway, outlook for Solana, considering we are running out of time on these cycles, and of course, Benner cycle, you see the S&P 500, you kind of get the idea of what I'm expecting. 27, 28 is going to be an absolute shit show. I find it hard to believe that we're going to be able to blast through 270, 280, 290, maybe $300 is the psychological pivot. I don't know. But I do find it hard to believe that we're going to get up through here. And also, too, these are rising wedges, which by definition is actually inherently bearish, but not till we actually get to the end of the wedge. So I could very easily see us just chop our way up into this level here. I do like the idea that through this coming crypto winter, we'll have our very normal. In fact, you could probably even just, put on a 78.6, and it's probably a really good reference point for you just to hunt going forward. Notice that's right against that trend line. So somewhere down in here, I would be more than happy to start loading the boat again. In through that crypto winter window where the public is going to be dying and just an unheard of death. Because I have a feeling this is going to be a really, really bad shock to our society here. Banksters, great reset, cocksuckers fucking us over, bend over, take it up the butt. You know the lines, blah, 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 blah. Brian, stop swearing. Well, but I do like the idea that once we get into this next cycle, I don't know how we do through the end of the decade because, of course, usually recessions happen in years that end in 8s, 9s, 0s, 1s, and 2s. So there should be some sort of ugly recession somewhere in this window. Interesting thing with crypto, though, is it seems to be agnostic. All they really care is can we get on the other side of that money cycle and Bitcoin halving and get all that stuff done, and then we'll start the whole game all over again. So this is basically what I'm looking for. I'm not quite sure how big the rally is going to be this coming cycle into 30. But we do know that if you can hang out long enough, and you'll probably have completely forgotten about a clown like me by then. But we our next generational peak is 35. And I can pretty much assure you that this stuff, I think that these things are still going to be here. It's fascinating to see how Bitcoin's just completely bulletproof through all this, and Litecoin hasn't changed much. And actually, interesting. I don't hear anybody talking about ETC anymore. How about Satoshi's vision? Does anybody remember Satoshi's vision? Don't hear too many people talking about Satoshi's vision anymore. But anyway, down the road, I think there's going to be tons and tons of money to be made on this. It's just, unfortunately, I think we are near some sort of cycle pivot. Then we have to go through crypto winter. Then we're going to have a relatively muted rally, not like, absolutely insane. Then a trough, and then into 35. This will be the next generational cycle pivot. And all the millennials are stuck being in their peak earnings years. And you remember that image that I showed you about the .com market and their preference for paper assets. Well, we're going to be going into that cycle. So stock market's into that cycle peak, should be very, very happy. And I don't see any reason why crypto won't be right there. And you might even argue that, like, a name like this, it has nothing to do with something like Bitcoin. Completely different fundamental story. You might argue that this is sort of the advent, especially with all these funny little tokens and stuff, the advent of sort of like the bulletin board kind of trading. And the bulletin board did very, very well through the .com boom. I've told you lots of stories about how the paper hangers made out like bandits through the .com boom. So I would expect that these kind of assets that don't really have a lot of intrinsic value, I think that they'll get washed out through crypto winters. I think they'll do very well through crypto 4-year cycle peaks. And then when we get into the generational peak, that's the next sort of, oh my God, you make absolutely insane amounts of money just really, really quickly. I think we are in that magic money, stupid internet money kind of phase right now. It's just that it's not nearly as, it's muted, and understandably so. I mean, the world's kind of going to fucking hell in a handbasket through this stupid great resetting. And all these bankster crooks know exactly what they're doing to us. Donnie knows exactly what's going on, and he's trying to take advantage of it as much as possible with his stupid world liberty nonsense. What a joke. Completely worthless. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So that's sort of my outlook for Solana. I haven't looked at Solana with you publicly in a while, but as long as we're making higher highs and higher lows through this event window, I wouldn't be in a big hurry. But as soon as we start amming out, right, and you can see last cycle when we started to actually make lower highs and lower lows, then you know that the bull is over. So I don't think we're there though. I don't see it. This was straight up, straight down. So that's actually usually indicative of a bull market. So we need to come up here, back down, up, down, big fat M. If anything, you know what I think this is? I think this, actually, I'm going to leave that image on the screen. Tell me what you think I think this image is. Hint, hint, hint. And what is Brian thinking here? So I wouldn't be surprised if we do something like that. Put, as they all say on the YouTube, put your answer in the comments below, right? Isn't that what I'm supposed to say? All right, half an hour to go until the end of the broadcast. Of course, I was completely wasting lots of time playing with a little shitcoin that I floated over there on Solana. Hilarious, but this will be fun experiment to see where they take this thing. And as I've said before, I mean, they gave me a ton of Solana, so I'm just going to use that Solana. to basically buy up this asset. And actually, I really like this 886 level. So I might even, before I leave for Liam, go and do another nibble in here. But I'm on a long-term plan where there's like 1 billion of these damn coins out. And I need to acquire a controlling position in this, which might be like to the tune of hundreds of millions of coins. So I'm not in any hurry whatsoever. I'll have fun trading circles around them. And every time I do one of their funny little streams, they pay me a bunch of Solana. And every time that equates to enough to buy a tenth, 20 bucks worth of this thing in Solana land, I'll go and do that. And that's what these funny little icons are here. I could fill them all out. I mean, I've just been buying, and I'll just keep buying. And if anything, what I told all of them is dump the coin, take it to zero. That's exactly what I want. So I can go and take a controlling position. Excellent answer there, Constantine. Way to go. You got the answer correct. And I would expect no less from you. So that's sort of the funny business I've been doing in shitcoin land. And frankly speaking, this coin's worthless. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. And frankly speaking, it's not even printed on any paper. So this is not investment grade. And I do not want any of you going and buying this, trying to ride my coattails or something like that. Just don't do it. Leave it alone. It's not even really. I've said my piece. With regard to shitcoins, there was a couple actually that I did buy this weekend on the sort of weakness in the market. And it's interesting to see a little bit of firmness here. I think it's still too early to call a pivot, but there were a couple names that I nibbled on. I bought a little bit of this guy. And hopefully you look at the chart and go, well, I guess that makes sense. Crazy ass Brian, cheap ass Brian. So I did see these bottoms try and come in here. And I did see a price gap here, and I drew my reload zone 78.6. And I threw a stink bid in. This is everything that I do. Little old lady style, not really in a big hurry to do anything here. My hunch is through this October rally window and into the end of the year, I think that we do things like 50% retracements on these kind of ideas. So ironically enough, maybe I only book like a 50% return on this guy. I don't know. I mean, if it does go crazy, great. If I have to clean it out at the end of the year at a loss, I'm not going to stress about it. But anyway, I did go and nibble on this guy a little bit down at the bottom end of his range. That brought my average cost down. And if this thing does actually end up deciding to pivot and turn higher, I'll be very quick to let this thing go on any kind of rallies. So that was a piece of poo that I bought. And I also bought another one, this MLN. Hopefully you look at the chart and go, yeah, there's a big fat W. What a big surprise. I did come in and buy a little bit here. I was a bit early. I had to wait through the spring for this thing to wash itself out. I had a bit of a rally, bit of a bottom, identified reload zones, threw my stink bid in, and boom, I got filled. Merry Christmas. No idea whether this is a bottom, but same sort of idea. Into that October, November rally, I do like the idea that we pop up into 50% rolls, and that would actually represent the better part of a double. So I might just blow this whole thing out on that kind of rally too. So yeah, just be warned. But I actually did do some buying. I actually stepped into the breach and picked up some more coin. Other than that, I did see little names like this Giga. Look at that chart. Holy crap. You can see I've already loaded up the bag, so I certainly don't need any more. But look at that cute little W trying to come in there right against this low. So I thought that was interesting. I posted that in the community earlier today. And I suppose we could go name by name by name, and oh, here's the W there. Oh, there's a W there. I mean, on balance, I think you all understand how to play the game. I would strongly suggest all of you just look at that kind of image and say, well, would they want to end some sort of big orgy cycle pivot like this? Or are they getting ready into that sort of October, November Gucci sweater wearers? All right, now we pump this thing and we get them to buy our bags up top. That's usually how these markets end. So that's what I'm looking for. Call me crazy, but anyway, a lot of people do. So that's kind of the market state for you. So we looked at Bitcoin, looked at Solana this week. I took a look at a couple names. Got about 20 minutes left. Actually, I think I saw on this ENA. Look at this one. I think this is the one that I was looking at. If you look at this on a weekly chart, it's like, wow. I wonder if I got my fill here. I don't know how old this is. If I bought here, I should get my fill. Oh yeah, actually, I think I did that a couple of weeks ago. Dope. That's not what I wanted to show you though. What did I want to show you? I saw one and I was sharing it with another site member, and it was like, holy crap. But now, oh, it might be this one. Oh yeah, look at that chart. Holy moly. That's not even really that long of a chart data. But look at that. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is, and actually, this is a good illustration because most people think that markets trend and trend and trend, but actually, this is actually what markets normally do. So you notice that this guy sat in this range forever, range up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then we only really trended one freaking week. Damn it. And if you missed that week, if you fell asleep at the switch, maybe you never did reload. Although, geez, that's a great reload zone there, right? But 1 week, that was the entire bull market, 1 week. So just understand, like when we come into these rally ending windows, the trending market state does not last that long. And then what's add insult to injury is that, they see this big pop, and then the public expects, well, it's going to keep going. But what ends up happening is the stupid market now goes sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 weeks. 17 weeks just drives you crazy. 1 week of rally, 17 weeks of, oh yeah, this time it's different. This time it's different. We're going to go to new highs. And down you go. Nure says it's actually only 3 days to add insult to injury. It wasn't a week, Brian. It was only 3 days. Right. So bang, 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 done. And then look how long. This is where Gucci sweater wearers come out. Hey, you want to get rich in crypto, right? Take my course, right? BTC, circle on the whiteboard, buy it. You're guaranteed to make money. You see how everybody made money in the past? And this time it's different. We're not going to come back down. We're just going to keep going. And 17 weeks they spend sucking the public into this market. And then, so I hope you can appreciate that. A lot of people come to this investing game and think this game is actually really, really easy. Sorry, folks. This game of investing and forcing yourself to buy in on markets that are kind of boring and just sitting at the bottom end of ranges and not really doing anything, and then being on the ball, maybe even having your sell halves on double orders working kind of idea, so that when the rally happens, ding, 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 your orders get filled. And really, there's no fanfare. All it is a little message that pops up, filled on this, way to go. Doesn't even say way to go, it just says filled on this, better pay your fucking taxes, right? Kind of bullshit. This is a trader's life. You sit here for like 6, 8 months doing jack shit, waiting, bang, bang, bang. There, you just got paid. And if you miss that, this one's a lucky one because it did sit up here for a while for you to get your fills. But if you miss that, sometimes they just go straight up and straight back down. And if you weren't on the ball and you were running your small business of trading like a professional, you completely missed the profit opportunity. And trust me, I've done that plenty of times. It's not like I'm immune. It happens to the best of us. So be forewarned. I certainly hope you're all ready. You got your open orders working, and if the rally happens, you go, great, awesome, bring it, bring it. And if you want my coins, you know exactly where to find me. That's the way you win at this game. If you actually leave it to the point where you're making arbitrary decisions as to whether you should take profits here or here or here or here or here or there, or RSI says that, or volume says that, or whatever, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Anyway, hopefully that's of some value to you. So it is interesting to see, we are rallying. We are in rally mode here. This is magic internet money part of the cycle. So I hope you all took the time to load up, because once they go, they go. And for fuck's sakes, just like snowboarding JJ says, don't chase, because you might just end up bag holding and then you're screwed for the next 6 months. Don't chase. All right. I don't know whether we really saw any questions here today, but hopefully you all enjoyed crazy ass rhetoric out of the Beamish. Where do I have the Q&A document? I know I have it around here somewhere. It's not that one. Is it over here? Nope. Is it over here? Nope. So many tabs. Drive myself crazy. Maybe it's over here. Hey, there we go. All right. Any questions from you guys? Survey says. Nope. Nice quiet day. That's good. You like that chart, eh? What's that say? Taco on E-mini S&P 500 futures. That's interesting. Anyway, so no questions? Great. You guys over on the YouTube page, do you want me to answer any questions? And keep in mind, this is part of our service here. You're not going to get somebody with 40-year market history that's going to sit here and speak to you directly about, demonstrator of best practices and what is ethical and what is moral. And, do you have a trading plan? Do you have your log? Do you have your journal? Do you have your demon finder? Do you have your mistake finder? Do you have your report card, right? You're just not going to find anybody on the internet to do this. You have one more term where I'm going to be here at TRI, and we'll do this live every Sunday. BCS, answer your questions directly. But you got to take the program. So, nice sales pitch for you. We do have our fall term coming up, and it is the last term that I will be actively teaching at TRI. If you have taken the program in the past and you'd like to do a little refresher with me, we have a bunch of people who have paid it's about $200-300 admin fee to participate in the level 3 program. And I do have new stuff that I've added to the program over the years. So I think there is even value for people who used to take the program years ago. And we do have a number of people that are like, yeah, I'll do another one with you, Brian. Last hurrah kind of idea. So I would strongly suggest that you take advantage of this while it's still here. In the new year, I don't know what the product's going to look like at TRI. And I will be primarily doing one-on-one coaching. If you are interested in the one-on-one coaching, it is at a fairly substantial fee, so it's certainly not cheap. But at the same time, too, I got a 40-year market veteran. I've been teaching people for 15 years. I've been trading, prop trading, my own accounts trading. I don't think I want to lowball my fees anymore, so I'm just going to charge market rates for my time. So, if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, it's a year-long program. We finish off the program with a meetup in Hawaii where we do a roundtable get-together and actually do the level 4 program with Zach in person. 52-week program to cover 36 modules of education material to make darn sure that you understand and can actually use the concepts taught in the program that I built. And of course, a session with the Beamish once a week for 52 weeks. That's not such a bad proposition. So 9 out of the 10 seats are gone. They've been locked up. There is one person that's humming and hawing right now. If you want to be number 10 and say, screw it, I'll make a commitment, I'm going to do the program, then Mr. 10, who's humming and hawing, I'm sorry, you get booted. There is a reservation list that's starting to build for people that are, there'll probably be a few people that drop out here and there. That's just the way these things go. So first intake will be in January. Second intake will be in July 1st for any people that decide to drop out after 6 months. Again, it's the way it goes. So just reach out to me, DM me on Twitter, on my private social media network at TRI through Discord. And I'll be more than happy to chat with you about that. And also, too, funnily enough, we're actually building a reservation list for 2027 already. I have 2 people already who are like, I can't do it this year, but I definitely want to do it next year. So that's interesting. All right, there's your big sales pitch. Hope you enjoyed that. Since we don't have any questions in the Q&A document, probably just speak to any questions you guys have on YouTube and in the next 10 minutes. And last, we'll just finish off with, can you wish Liam and I best wishes on the road here today? And wish me luck in doing a good job, being a solid demonstrator of good parental practices, something like that. Okay, so somebody did ask me to look at, we'll start up at the top. Hello, Adam. Great to see you. Fruity Forests. Happy lunar eclipse. Lots of hellos, lots of let's goes. Brian live on Pump Fun. What the hell, eh? I'm a glutton for punishment. Brandon Willis. Hey, Brian, I want to do all 3 levels next year, but heard that this year is your last year teaching. At TRI, yeah. So reach out to me, Brandon. Hook up with me on my private social media network. Hook up with me on Discord, and just bug me in the new year, and we'll give you an idea of what the plan is going forward. So if anything, Brandon, just get the level 1 done, right? Just get that done here in the fall. That's the eating your vegetables part of the education. And level 2 and level 3 is all about the candy store and having fun in the market with all the fun different things that we can do. But just my suggestion to you, Brandon, is just get the damn level 1 done now. And like I said, you can always ask me questions through the fall live, right? Which you won't be able to do in the new year. So that's my suggestion for you, Brandon. Just register for the level 1, get it done. And then just, keep in contact with me in the new year and we'll figure out what the plan is following there, okay? Martin T says, astrology? Question mark. Not sure what that's about. Hey, Jim and Liz. Happy Sunday, Brian and TRI and everyone. Good to see you. BB would simply say DFC. Thank you, Snowboarding Jace, JJ. Adam and Eve from Constantine. Yep. Hi, Brian. Could you share your opinion on LIV USDT? All right, there you go. Let's see what we got here. What was that again? LIV USDT. And excuse me if I burp along the way. On Binance, sure, you're probably doing Binance. Oh, it's not bad. One thing, JJ will be happy with you. You're not chasing, so that's good. Not a bad level to consider doing some nibbling. You are in reload zones, so it's an acceptable trade location. I would say the sharpshooters probably going to be gunning for fills down in here. You can see the original market structure bottom. It's interesting how they couldn't take that low out. That low there was higher than that low and higher than that low. It has put in a cute little bottom here. So it doesn't look bad. Nice bullish momentum divergence. Looks like some buyers stepped in. That's always a good sign. Chris would like that CBD message. And actually interesting, you can see W in OBV, W in RSI, W in Willie, MACD histogram looking W-ish. So I would actually say if you're a trader, this actually isn't a bad setup to simply go long on the double bottom there. And risk down to a break of those lows. So is it a good idea to buy that there? 1466 when the double bottom's 1400, 14 even. Yeah, you might be chasing a little bit. You want to throw a stink bid in here and maybe through Sunday night, early Monday morning, we get a bit of weakness and it comes back down into here. It's not a bad idea. But I would say, though, that if we do break these lows, don't be in love with this thing. If you're nanny nibbling because we're in reload zones, then yeah, go throw 1% or something like that at this because you like the fundamental story. Nothing wrong with that. If you're trading this and the double bottom gives, as I said, next key support, I think there's some support against that low there. But that's 1159 from 13 and change. Yeah, that's a good couple bucks. So that's my 2 cents there. Short-term trade basis, it's not bad. But if we lose this bottom here, get the fuck out. All right. So I hope that was a satisfactory answer for you, Nick. Hi, Brian. Could you? Oh, yeah, Nick. All right. Nick's sending multiple messages. Opinion on locked positions in DeFi for cash flow. Really, this is where I really enjoyed Sjord participating in the site videos on a regular basis because he's the type of person that would be better at answering those types of questions than a guy like me. I'm a dinosaur. I just want to trade my account. I don't want to have to worry about, staking and unstaking and locking and DeFi and all that shit. I'm not that type of person. I'm sorry. That's just the most brutally honest, straightforward answer I could give you there, Jeff. Mr. Loris below. Yes, please. Can you check out CRO? All right. My hunch is it probably looks a hell of a lot like the rest of this stuff. And that's versus USDT. Coinbase? That's probably a pretty big exchange. Oh boy, I can't buy that. You can see it actually top, down, up. It actually is already put in an M here. Be careful. 2 M's in RSI. So you actually have an RSI breakdown there. And would Brian ever be interested in buying an asset that's moved up like that? No. I mean, maybe it bots itself out, but clearly from my perspective, you missed the trade. Right, this is pretty obvious. If you did want to buy this, right, you can see there's a W there. There's another W there. So down, up, down, breakout. I suppose you could have snuck in there nice and cheekily. But notice how 786, 886, all down in that area, venture cap reload zone is down in here, not up here. I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole right now. Just leave it alone. Unless, of course, you already bought down here and you should be paying yourself, taking some profits. All right. Joe in South Beach says, would you rotate money in ETH into BTC for the next couple of weeks before moving it back to ETH, banking on the assumption that BTC flies back first, then ETH? This assumes you're sitting holding. Yeah. I think you're asking for trouble to try and second guess the market there, Joe. I'm not that type of person. If you had a BTC ETH spread chart, you could always trade that and trade setups, right? Of course, that's what I'm going to tell you always to do. So if you happen to have a short setup that as you go short BTC, long ETH, okay, great. Trade the setup. I don't know where you can trade this though. I don't even know, like some of this stuff's not even close. So I'm actually a bit surprised there isn't more. Maybe it's the other way around. ETH BTC. Is that the way you got to do it? There you go. So are you just simply saying you want to trade the spread? All right. Yeah. Whatever the hell this spread means, Ethereum over Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up in value, then this spread should narrow. Is that how it works? I can see a bearish divergence in momentum. I can see Willie stupid. I can see M's in price. So if you're asking whether I see a valid setup here, yeah, I do. Something along those lines and 50% levels, something like that. That would be my technical objective. So I hope that helps. I'd also say too, that we could probably do like chaos theory there to there and then to there. And yeah, look at that 4669 also at the 50% level. So I think there's some money to be made. I don't know whether I'd trade there or maybe wait for some sort of counter trend rally back up into this traffic area, but I can understand the trade. It makes sense to me. All right. All right. So basically it looks like we addressed all the questions in the chat. I've got 4 minutes to spare. So I think we'll probably leave it at that for today. Hope you enjoyed the offering, got some value out of it. Look forward to see everybody behind the paywall for extended daily briefs tomorrow, where we'll review all this stuff, but maybe look at some more individualized stocks and trade ideas. And of course, go through the regular routine that I go through Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays with people, and review the breadth and all that kind of stuff. So, and also too, I'm really looking forward to see whether my weekly bond key reversal signal actually fires. So that's going to be a huge event first thing tomorrow morning. All right. So that's the broadcast for you. Sure hope you got some good value out of this. As I tell these crypto degens, but I don't know whether any of them listen to me, on my screen, whenever I talk to these people and screen share and all that crap, I try to sort of drive home that I'm here to actually help you learn. I'm not here to like steal your money and shill a coin and all that kind of crap. So, 3 tools you must have to succeed at trading. And really, this hasn't changed in the entire time I've been in the business, 40 fucking years. Nothing's changed here. Got to have a trading plan. You got to have your log, and the trading plan just defines what it is that you're doing. And are you actually capable of doing what you said you're going to do? A lot of people aren't. Trade log, that will actually show whether you are capable of doing what you said you were going to do in your plan. And then journals. And I tell these people when I was over, why is this not working? God, what a piece of shit. These computers, it's so irritating. Like, think of this. I can't, now what the fuck did they do? Where did that go? Trying Shows you crazy. All right, there we go. Anyway, I think also too, as I had said here earlier, demon finders, mistake trackers, report cards. Try and put as many supports into your life as possible to make this trading learning experience as easy on yourself. Because trust me, this isn't easy. This is a profession that you're all thinking about partaking in. Notice I have down here, and this is what I wanted you all to see closing out this video. And this is what I'm trying to tell all of these people and all of you, especially if you watch the entire video, right? In your journals every single day, how am I feeling? Ask yourself these 3 questions. How you feel will directly affect your performance. I guarantee you it will. Number 2, what did I see? Oh, I just saw a big FU move and dump into 88.6. And that Beamish guy says, wow, that was actually a cool level. And ironically enough, in hindsight, it looks like it was. Fascinating how we dumped into 1.618. Chaos theory. Hey, that's Julian's level. He loves that level. What did I see? And finally, what did I learn? Did I learn anything today? And keep in mind, we are all students of the market, guaranteed. Doesn't matter how long you've been in this business, we are never stop learning. So on that note, I'd love to see you on the site. And if you want to learn, I think I'm a pretty good resource. And I have a few years of experience playing this game. Interesting to see. I wonder if anybody in the public is noticing the bullish divergence that's forming on this thing. And since we are in location and we now have confirmed divergence, are we actually maybe getting a setup that might be forming here? And what's the final piece to that equation? If you don't know the answer to that, get your butt in the goddamn school and learn it. Right? The last thing we want to see now is, can I please have some market structure here to actually frame a buy? Because we have location, we have indicator confirmation. Now we need price structure and then go. So it's kind of funny how we finished on that note here today. All right, everybody, I think I'll leave it at that. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you very much for the best wishes for Liam and I. And yes, I do not drive above 100 miles an hour ever with my baby in the car. Hope to see everybody on the site. If you can take advantage of the education program, I think you really should. Slow and steady wins a race. Don't take no wooden nickels. Remember what your number 1 job is as a trader. And the only thing left to say to you good people is a hearty bye for now.